Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are we doing, folks? See if we got volume here. See if we got some sound. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are we doing? Live. Okay, cool. All right. How's it going, folks? Thank you for being patient. Had a little delay. Unfortunately, still hobbling around on crutches and trying to get my leg working. So the doctors did not run on time. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody that we did make it today and that I was able to give you the training as promised this morning. So talking about the 3 key skills that you guys can have, that you guys can learn to bridge the gap between residential and commercial, to get you started closing those commercial deals, closing those opportunities that come your way so that you can put that extra $30,000, $50,000, $70,000 a year in your pocket, right? So as you guys are hopping on, let's see. James, no, there's no Zoom link. I see you just asked. We usually go live in the group on Wednesday. I'm sorry, on Mondays. So this is the place to be, right? So if you, for those of you that are just hopping on right now, if you can do me a favor and smash that like button, smash the heart button. Also, what that does, that tells Facebook that you guys are here, you're live, you're engaging, and to spread the message out to the other folks in the group. We got about close to 1,500 of us by now. So we are crushing it all along. James, thank you so much for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. And welcome. James, by the way, let me know in the comments where you're from, because I'm very interested to see, what states people are coming from and so forth. Yeah, keep smashing it. Love it, love it, love it. Let everybody know. Pay it forward is what I like to say, because the more engagement there is, the more Facebook tells other folks and more people hop on, and the more I get to spread the good word and teach you guys, how to close some of these deals, right? So basically what it comes down to is if you think about the commercial world, you have residential on this side, commercial here, and think of it like an old school bridge in between the two, right? And the methodology that I created for residential agents that want to learn to sell commercial is what I call the bridge method. And it's a few simple steps that I want to go over so that you guys can see, okay, this is what we need to do in order to bridge the gap, because you guys, believe it or not, know a lot more than you might think you do. Now, there are a few key skills that are necessary to learn, how to close those commercial deals, right? But it's not as many as you think. You're not like you're starting from scratch, starting as a rookie. But if we can plug into those 3 kind of areas of knowledge, you'll be off to the races quicker than you can believe, right? So James, you said you're out of the northwest border of Oregon and Washington. Okay, cool. So where would you be doing business? Would you be doing business in Oregon State or Washington State? Because what I like to do is to explain to people and help put into context for you, right? Is I'd like to help put into context, what an average commercial transaction would look like in your neck of the woods, right? So for instance, in Oregon, your average commercial transaction, according to CoStar, is 1.9 million, right? And then in Washington, it's 2.3 million. So yeah, those are really, really good numbers. Again, and thanks for the thumbs up and likes. Yeah, awesome. So you do it in both. So yeah, you got some pretty good. You guys are wow, and it looks like about in the top 5, only behind California, New York, and you're tied with Utah in Washington at that $2.3 million mark. So do me a favor, James, multiply 2.3 million times 3% and tell me what that looks like. And for those of you others that are just hopping on the line, just give me a shout out, give me some thumbs ups and some hearts so we can get as many people on here as possible. I do apologize for the delay today. Unfortunately, some things don't always work out as according to plan, But then also let me know what state you're coming in from and what city you're coming in from, so I can give you an idea as to kind of help. I do this every week to try to put all the teachings into context, is to understand if you just added one extra commercial deal to your portfolio, or rather to your pipeline every year, like what impact that would have. So James says yes, 69,000. Yeah, so one average commercial deal in the state of Washington is an extra $69,000 in your pocket, right? That to me doesn't sound too bad. Natasha's coming in from Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, so Arizona, your average deal size is 2 million, right? So that's a pretty simple math at 3%. That's an extra $60,000 for one deal. Am I right? So it's important when you're learning these concepts, you say, okay, this isn't just some pie in the sky thing. This is one average transaction, $60,000, right? So something to keep in mind. So again, so we'll let the other folks hop on now, but I'm going to get to the presentation. So without further ado, we're going to be hopping over, and if you guys can just do me a quick favor and let me know. I'm just going to pull it up on my phone here because I'm only working on one screen currently, but make sure. Let's see. Hang on one second. I got Justin Bieber in my head. I don't know why. Oh, I just heard it in the elevator. That's why. All right, new recent posts. Here we go. Let me see if I can pull this up. Okay, cool. All right, so that way I can see your comments over here. Okay, yeah, 60,000, Natasha, right? Not so bad. Whoop, whoop, right? So awesome. Okay, so I'm going to pull up the presentation, and if you guys can do me a favor and just give me a, just type in the word screen in the comments when you can see my screen. It should say commercial sales for realtors. All right. All right. Actually, let me go back to the zoomy zoom. Yes, got it. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here. Share this, share that. Let me know by just type the word screen when you can see my screen that says commercial sales for realtors. That's what got us here. That's how we all met each other. All right, so I'm just I know there's a little slight delay, so just do me a favor and type that in there, or give me some thumbs ups and some likes in the comments below. That way I can see what's going on here. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So again, like I said, folks, if you think about the world of commercial real estate and the world of residential real estate, let's think of it as two pieces of land with a little bit of river going through it, right? And the bridge in between them is the method that we learn in order to plug in a few key skills so that you can cross from one side to the other. Thanks for Natasha. I appreciate you. Let me know that you can see the screen. Right. So what we're doing here is we are going to take a look at what it takes to cross that bridge, what those three key skills are that you guys are missing, so that you can complete the bridge from one side to the other, and then start closing those commercial deals. Start bringing in another $69,000 to James, or $60,000 to Natasha. Right? Just out of curiosity, guys, Natasha, James, what? Because you guys are the most active on today's call. How much longer do you plan on being in the brokerage business? Is it going to be another 5 years? Is it going to be another 10 years? Maybe it's 20 years, right? Do me a favor and put that in the chat, right? And I'll start pulling up today's lesson. So as I mentioned, right? If you look at the world of residential and you look at the land of commercial, right? And you think of it like a little river or a lake or a body of water going in between it, right? The question is, how to bridge the gap? A lot of people, the thing I hear from so many agents, and I speak to hundreds, if not thousands of agents a year, and what we wind up finding out is that a lot of them have some preconceived notions, and I want to try to help you dispel some of them, right? Some people say it's too hard, it can't be done. Some people say you have to be born into the business. Some people say that no one wants to share their knowledge. Well, I'm here to help you, at least with the part about sharing the knowledge, right? And I'm also here to kind of dispel the myth that it's too hard to learn, or that not everybody can learn it, right? It is absolutely a skill set, and it's absolutely something that everyone can learn, right? And here's what we'll get into on a granular basis in terms of what that actually means. So Natasha writes in 25 years. Great. Okay, so let's do some simple math, Natasha, right? Let's just say you closed one average commercial deal in the Arizona market, in the Phoenix market, right? For the next 25 years. So do me a favor, just for ha-has, right? Multiply 60,000 times 25. Just let me know what that number is in the chat, okay? So as I mentioned, the bridge method is the method of getting from one side to the other, right? But here's what's cool about this, right? Is you guys aren't starting from scratch. In fact, that's why I find it's easier to work with people, that have been on the residential side, for a bit, than necessarily have never done any transacting at all, and trying to teach in commercial, right? Is you guys already have many of the skills that it takes to close a commercial transaction, right? So what does that mean, right? You guys already know a lot of the things that it takes. In fact, there are 8 steps, there we go, 8 steps that it takes in order to sell a commercial property. And you'll be surprised at how many of the steps you already know. And then Natasha writes in, yeah, 1.5 million. Ooh, that sounds kind of nice. Now, mind you, Natasha, that's 1.5 million above what you're already making on the residential side, right? That's for closing one deal a year. You know, and if you close one deal every other year, that's still an extra $750,000 in your pocket. So the point is, that's what learning this skill is worth to you. So those of you out there that are watching this, maybe on the replay, maybe you're not active in the comments, right? Just don't think of closing one deal. What are you going to close in the next 3 months? What are you going to close in the next year? Think of what this skill is worth to you over the length of your career, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever that might be, 25 years in Sasha's case, right? So just give that a thought. But going back to it, right? There are 8 steps. There we go. 8 steps that it takes to close a commercial transaction. The first of which you guys are already doing it, right? You already know how to find leads, right? And the second step, right? You already know how to find them, you know, because if just by virtue that you're selling houses, right? That shows you that you're already sourcing leads somewhere, right? And then bringing them through a certain process and closing and collecting, right? Now, you already, obviously, if you're already active in the business and you already have, you know, several transactions under your belt, you're also following up with those leads, because if you don't follow up, you do not wind up engaging with people, because very, very rarely when you meet someone, are they ready, willing, and able to transact? So oftentimes you got to keep a whole bunch of people on the back burner and churn through them, right? Now, of course, if you so much as close as one deal, you already know how to write up contracts. Now, mind you, there are some subtleties, some slight differences between commercial contracts and residential contracts, but you already know kind of the process of how to write up the documents required in order to close a transaction. Step 4, coordinating inspection periods, you know, minding the deal while it's in the transaction coordination mode. Some people have their own transaction coordinators, but I'm sure all of you at some point have minded a deal through its steps, right? Make sure that the inspectors are getting in a timely fashion. Make sure that the property inspector comes. Make sure the termite inspector comes. Make sure, you know, coordinating all these things. These are all skill sets that you have to do on the residential side that incidentally, you have to do the very similar process on the commercial side. You already have that on your belt, so check that off the list, right? So if you're thinking, oh, no, there's just too many things to learn, trust me, you already know about 60% of what you need to know, right? You already know 5 of the 8 just by virtue of selling so little as one house, right? Closing transactions, right? Obviously, if you've sold anything and put any money in your pocket, you know what it takes to take something to closing, right? But what's more important, right, is okay, now that we know you have 5 skills that you already know how to do, right? Let's look at the ones that are missing to get us to kind of complete that bridge from the land of commercial to the land of residential, or vice versa, right? So first of all, you have to have a game plan. You have to understand the foundations, right? You have to understand property types. You have to understand, you know, how the buildings are constructed. You have to understand, you know, some of the foundational information. Who are the best people for different types of properties? Who are what they call the highest and best users, right? You have to have that feel, right? You have to know what you're looking at, okay? The next is you have to understand valuation, right? Now, what is valuation? Valuation is the process of putting a price tag on a piece of property, right? So what does that look like? Well, it looks like, you know, on the residential side, you guys oftentimes use comparative sales, right? On the commercial side, when we value income producing properties, what we wind up doing is we wind up, you know, understanding, looking at how the building is operating, taking its income, taking its expenses, and then, you know, subtracting the expenses from the income, and then applying what they call a cap rate or a capitalization rate, okay? So and in other trainings, we get further in depth in terms of what cap rates are and how they came up with and so forth. We get it further into that in both here and then also way more in depth in my private trainings, right? But the bottom line is, you know, you could have the best piece of property in the best submarket, right? And unfortunately, if you don't price it properly, it is never going to sell, right? How many of you, by a show of hands, right, would pay $25 for a $20 bill? Silence. Right, exactly. No one's ever going to do it, right? Why? It's only overpriced by $5. Yeah, but it's not worth $25, right? You can't ask $25 for a $20 bill. And so where people oftentimes miss the mark, especially in commercial, is if they don't have their valuation skills dialed in, they'll never be able to create to close a transaction, because even if you're only off by 20%, in this case, $25 for a $20 bill, right? That's extra $5. Yes, so that's 25%, right? You'll never wind up closing the deal. So I think that drives it home, right? So finally, the third skill that you're missing, right, is learning how to source buyers and sellers, right? Learning how to create those investor lists so you can go back to those folks over and over and over again, where to find the people that are most likely to transact, right? On average, what I say to people is, people that are walking down the street, right? Everybody walking down the street is a potential client for residential agents. Why? Because everybody needs a roof over their head. Whether it's an apartment, whether it's a house, whatever it is, people might be looking to lease, people might be looking to buy, people might be looking to sell. Everybody's a potential client. So you can just go and talk to everybody and you'll find leads, right? But on the commercial side, there are very specific ways of finding those leads, right? So how many of you, with a show of hands, you're pretty good at getting leads, on the residential side. Type leads into the chat for me if you don't mind, right? And Natasha says, "I'll take it." Yeah, I bet you would. $750,000 if you close a deal every other year, or if you close one deal a year, an extra $1.5 million over the next 25 years. Think of the time value of money. If you took that money and you invested it, what that $60,000 a year would be worth, way more than $1.5 million. But that's just the without, right? So Natasha says, yeah, leads. So you get the hang of having to generate leads, right? So it is very much one of the foundational principles that you have to understand is where to go, what to say, who to say it to, how often to follow up, all these things. You learn how to source those buyers and sellers. The nice thing about commercial, right, is, like I mentioned, on the residential side, everybody walking down the street is a potential client. That's awesome, because you can throw a rock and hit a potential client. Standing in line at the grocery store, talk to in the bank, whatever it might be, right? But now on the commercial side, but the only thing is, on the residential side, folks are only, let's say, looking to transact every, say, 10 years, right? Their family grows, their kids go off to college, they downsize, they upsize, whatever. But on the commercial side, the nice thing is, oftentimes with investors, so long as you can find properties for them that meet their investment criteria, they will buy as much as you want from them, as you can provide to them. So you guys, just do me a favor, type +1 in the chat if you would like to have customers that come back to you year after year, buy from you 1, 2, sometimes 3 properties in a year. Just type +1 in the chat if that's something that you would like to have. I tell you, it's really, really nice. So that's why learning how to source buyers and sellers is so important, because what you can do is, if you study an area, you can find out who owns the most amount of properties. And guess what? You get their telephone, you get their email number, email address, and you can reach out to them over and over and over again. And when the time comes and you have a piece of property that works for them, not only if you're representing the seller do you get the seller commission, but you also get the buyer's commission. So that's when you can is when once you get a listing, knowing who to put that listing in front of. That's when you really put rocket fuel on things. Just an anecdote, right? Last year, I closed 5 transactions, fourth quarter, right? 4 of the 5, I got both the sell side and the buy side commission. Why? Not because I'm a wizard or anything like that, because my marketing plan works, because I've located and identified many of the owners in the area, and I stay in front of them over and over and over again, right? So I'm not saying that happens all the time. I'm just saying it's possible because it has happened to me. So it is absolutely potential for you to happen. So when you start selling properties and you're getting both the buy side and the sell side of the deal, money starts adding up quickly, So that 60,000, for instance, in Natasha's case, or that 69,000 in James' case, that turns into 120,000, or that turns into 138,000 in James's case, right? Real quick when you get both sides of the commission. So by a show of hands, by a show of hearts, okay? Tell me who would like to get both, learn how to get both the buy side and the sell side of a deal. Go ahead and hit that heart button if that's something that you guys would like to learn about, right? And that's why it's one of the pieces of the foundation that we teach, whether it's the the game plan and the foundations. It's the understanding valuation, and then understanding where all these sellers and buyers, where all these owners and investors are hidden, right? Cool, I got a flood of buy, right? Like, who wouldn't want to make $2 for doing the same amount of work as you'd normally earn $1 for, right? So that's what we teach. In the bridge method, that's what we teach. We teach you what it takes for you to go from the residential side to the commercial side. And we've identified them, and then we've broken them down into 6 very small steps. We take you A through Z through it, right? Now, if this is something that you guys would be interested in learning more about, right? What we have is we have a 6-month training program that we do it's called CRE basic training, right? And what it does is specifically designed for residential agents that already have these 5 skills, and you want to plug in these other 3 skills. We show you how to do that and how to shortcut your learning curve so that you can go ahead and earn that extra $60,000 a deal, $69,000 a deal. In California, if there's anyone on the line from California, it's $84,000 is the average commercial transaction at 3%, okay? So my only question is, the best time to learn commercial was yesterday. The second best time is today. So the question is, if any of you folks are interested in learning more about this, because I don't know if you know it or not, or if any of you are feeling it or not, but does anybody, by a show of hands, by a show of likes, right, tell me who feels like there might be a bubble going on right now? Like the prices are just out of sight, like there are 10 buyers for every property, 20 buyers for every property, and the prices make no sense, and you kind of feel like there's a bubble about to happen. Give me some likes if that sounds familiar to you guys, right? Because I tell you what, I've been in business since 2003, so I remember what 2006 smelled like and felt like. I remember buying my first house in 2005, right? I remember what that was like, because what happened was, things just, you felt lucky if you could buy a house. You felt lucky if you could get your hand on product, and everything was booming along. I'll tell you what though, fast forward 2 or 3 years, a whole lot of people were looking for other jobs. So my recommendation, my advice would be, okay, learn another method of selling property. Learn the commercial side. I'm not saying abandon what you do. Don't run away from that. In fact, that's my next slide, right? Well, my recommendation is do not abandon what's already working for you, right? But what if you just added a couple commercial transactions a year? What if you got this skill set under your belt so that you could just add a couple, so that if things got a little quiet on the residential side, you'd be able to pick up some commercial. Like, what if, now let's take it a step further, right? What if by offsetting your income with a couple commercial deals a year, you could choose the clients you work with, right? One of the things that I've noticed in any business, right, it's that 80% of your headaches come from about 20% of your clients, right? 4 out of 5 clients are really nice people. They're a pleasure to work with, or they're just decent people, right? But how many, and do me a favor, type 80-20 in the chat if you recognize that probably about 20% of your clients represent 80% of your headaches, right? How many of you have been at the table getting ready to sign a listing agreement and you say, oh no, this person's going to be a nightmare, but you prospected for a long period of time and you found out, you finally got there and you say, oh, here we go, or I'm sure how many, a whole lot of you have also gotten to the point where you're going through a listing presentation. You said, oh my God, this is going to be fantastic. This person's so nice. They're so sweet. This is going to be a real pleasure to do, right? So I think you've all gotten there. So what if you could fire or choose to who you work with, get rid of those headache clients that make your business stressful, because life is too short to work with people that you don't enjoy working with. So just what if you could close some commercial transactions, get rid of some of those headache clients? How much more would you enjoy your work without dealing with the folks that really, make your blood boil and give you all this unnecessary stress, right? There's always going to be stress in this job, but the question is, how nice would it be to do that, right? So if this sounds like something you'd like to entertain, like to learn more about, okay, do me a favor and type the word training in the comments, right? We have a 6-month training program. What we do is we take you step by step by step through all of the key skill sets that you need. We help you in real time. We help show you if you have for instance, if you have an opportunity right now, we have trainings weekly, and we walk you through. If you're working on a deal, you have any questions, we walk you through that. We can give you phone it is that you might need, okay, in order to get you through so you can close that first commercial transaction, close that second commercial transaction, whatever it might take, because I'm sure a lot of you naturally have transactions that kind of fall in your lap or come available to you, but you have to refer them out, or you say, well, that's not really what I do, that type of thing. How nice would it be to be able to just close a couple of those a year, put a little extra money in your pocket, and not have to turn business away, more importantly, and then you get to service your clients in a better way because you're servicing, you're the one-stop shop. You're like the Walmart. You serve them on the residential side as well as the commercial side, right? So if any of you folks are interested in learning more about our training program, it's called CRE, Commercial Real Estate Basic Training. We give you all the foundations that you need. We show you how to value properties. We show you where to source buyers and sellers. We show you all the foundational information to get you going from where you are to closing your first commercial transaction and cashing that check and putting that money in your pocket, right? So if there's anything else you folks have questions about, feel free to reach out to me in the group. I'd be happy to answer them for you. But in the event you don't, I look forward to seeing you next week, because just one last thing to give it thought, right, is let's say you're able to close some more deals and put more money in your pocket, right? Cash that first check. What would that mean? What would the impact on your life be? Would it mean better schools for your kids? Would it mean another vacation for your family? More peace of mind? You don't have to worry when that next transaction is coming through. Maybe it gives you time to yourself so you can be a bigger impact in your community or your church or synagogue or mosque, right? Maybe it means you don't have to miss those little league games, or you don't have to miss those dance recitals that you're missing because you're working open houses on Saturdays and Sundays, or showing people around in your car, right? Maybe you get that new sports car that you always wanted. Maybe it means putting an addition in the house or getting that bigger house that you always wanted, right? Think of not necessarily just learning the skill, but learning that skill, how the positive impact that can have on the life of you as well as your loved ones, right? So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. If you'd like to book a complimentary strategy session, we can go ahead and schedule time for you. Just put the word training down below and I'll go ahead and reach out to you. We'll get you on the calendar. So just type it in the comments, and I look forward to speaking with a lot of you guys. Hope that's kind of illuminated and changed your perspective on some things. And I look forward to seeing you live at 5 next week. Have a great day, guys. Talk to you later.